Thank you, Senator Whitehouse.
Thanks very much, Representative Long. Welcome to the committee. The taxpayer advocate in Rhode Island noticed that service dramatically improved for regular taxpayers when the additional funding for the IRS came through to the IRS, that wait times diminished, that they could get answers much more quickly. Will you work with the taxpayer advocates and listen to them to make sure that their advice is heard in your office?
Definitely. We had a little bit of a discussion on that earlier, and a lot of people still think I'm in Congress, so they still contact me with their issues. And I say, I'm not at the IRS, I can't talk about tax issues, and then I'll chat GPT, the taxpayer advocate service in their state, and there's 2 or 3 offices, 6 or 7 refer them, and I've had very good response that they said that was helpful.
What will your policy be if you're asked by political higher-ups, say at the White House, to use the IRS against perceived political
It's not going to happen. That's
how do we know
on my watch? Huh?
How will we know it's not going to happen? Are there any guardrails you'll set up to make sure that that doesn't happen?
And I guess you got to figure out if I'm telling you the truth or not, but it's not going to happen on my watch. I mean, Congressman, and there's 9 people on your 27-person committee here that I served with in the House for 12 years, most of them for 12 years.
Yeah. Will you at least make that policy clear? Will you promise to make that policy clear when you get to the IRS?
Yes,
because
there's a lot of things I want to make.
we do with the Department of Justice,
sir.
One of the things about the Department of Justice is that they're very scrupulous about not letting little squirrels running around in the White House talk to little squirrels running around in the Department of Justice and influence prosecutions without the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General knowing about it. Will you look at making sure in some kind of internal policy statement that you're not being circumvented with some person employed by you being told by the White House, let's go screw this person, and you don't know about it? And then they say, well, there's no policy. The IRS commissioner never said anything about that.
If I'm being circumvented, then I'm not the commissioner of the IRS. I mean, so that should not happen.
All right. Well, make sure that it doesn't, because there'll be every incentive to try to push it. We've seen the president do it with Harvard. You had questions about that already. We were told in the Finance Committee that the tax credit that you were helping these private individuals to hawk, quote, the tax credit does not exist. If you get to the IRS, what are you going to do about that?
Senator Wyden and another senator have already started an investigation, and is my way of thinking, and whatever my OGE says, since I did refer some friends to Capital Edge Strategies, who, if I can, I mean, anybody that's doing anything illegal should be investigated. It's common sense.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that we now have an IRS employee who has said this tax credit that you've been hawking does not exist. And I'm wondering what they can expect by way of retaliation for having said that once you come in.
None.
All right.
I'm not,
So one other thing, let me look at your donations here. The political stuff, I think we've been over this before, but if you could pull it up. So you lost your Senate primary, you carried $130,000 in debt as of August 2nd, 2022, correct? Then time goes by and none of that gets paid down. In fact, 2 years and 5 months go by, nearly 30 months. It's a pretty good long period of time, to December 4th, when suddenly it's announced that you're about to be the IRS commissioner. And after 2 years and 5 months of no activity, suddenly, starting the following day and just in the next 2 months, suddenly $165,000 floods in. Will you share with us all the communications with those donors by you or any known intermediary of yours that prompted that sudden flood of donations that ended up in your personal pocket?
As I've mentioned several times today, everything that you do with the Federal Election Commission, you have to do it by the book, by their rules, and that's exactly what I did. We followed the letter of the law with the
Will you share
FEC.
with us
If
the
this stuff needs to be
communications?
changed, then you need to change what the FEC does or how that.
This is different. This isn't just complying with the FEC. This is a Senate hearing about whether you should be the IRS commissioner or not. And if you started using the office of IRS commissioner to solicit funds back then, that's the kind of thing that would be shown in the communications by you or intermediaries with these individuals. Will you promise to share with the committee any communications related to that sudden surge of contributions to you?
I'll share what we shared with the FEC. I mean, everything had to be reported, everything had to be public. It wasn't like I thought, oh, these people are sending money in and now,
Well,
I mean, it's in the public record. So
we all know here that what you file with the FEC versus what happens when you conduct an investigation and look back behind the filings and look at the communications and the memos and the phone call records, whatever took place. I think we're entitled in this situation, Chairman, by the way, happy birthday.
Thank you.
to have a look at that as if there were an investigation going on and to see the actual documents behind all of this. And so that will be my ask, and my time, as I said, is expired.
Thank you.